Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Jessie Snyder and this is Sunny Days Events and Rentals, Juneau's premier wedding and event specialist. On this channel, I have been showing you which aspects of your wedding you can DIY and which ones are best left to the pros. However, I'd like to start making a new type of video for you, and I'm going to call it Coordinator's Corner. On this aspect of my channel, I'm going to help talk about some of the things that a wedding planner, a full wedding planner, should be able to help walk you through. Now, I know a lot of my brides and grooms out there don't have the budget for a full planner, and that's okay. There's also a lot of my brides and grooms that think they don't need a wedding planner, and I will talk about that in a future post. But right now, today, I wanted to talk about the special idiosyncrasies that come from being an Alaskan bride or groom. We in Alaska are rough and rugged people. But we also see those TV shows on TLC or Home Garden or whatever, those channels, those cable TV channels of weddings from down south or in LA and in New York, where they're lavish and their budgets are like $500,000. And they want that. There's some things in those TV shows that just are not practical to doing weddings here in Alaska. One of them, weather. I was born in Alaska. I left Alaska to go to college, and then I came back. And then I left Alaska for a little while so that my ex-husband could get his education, but then I came back. Alaska's who I am. It's in my blood. I love it despite its weather. I'm not an outdoor person, but many Alaskans are outdoor people. They go hiking and skiing and skating, and we even have some that go surfing in the cold, and polar bear plunges are all part of things that Alaskans do. Just 'cause we can. So I know when you're planning your wedding, you taking into consideration the fact that we're an outdoorsy type people. We love the physicality of being outdoors, but that comes with the setback of having our Alaskan weather. A lot of brides and grooms want those beautiful, gorgeous outdoor weddings that they see on the TV because they're an outdoor people. They like being outside. They like being in the nature. And we've got vistas. Oh my goodness. I lived for a year up in Anchorage. Gorgeous vistas up there. I born and raised here in Juneau. And I'm staring at a mountain right now. Heck, it's snowing out my window. In March. In the end of March. But so we have beautiful scenery. Our wildlife is amazing. I've had weddings where whales have decided to come join the reception. Eagles, frequently on my way out the road to do setups for weddings, bears and deers on the side of the road. That's all part of being in Alaska. But we have the weather. Like I said, it's snowing in March. And so you have to be prepared. You have to have your plan B. Hope for the wedding of your dreams. Hope for a beautiful outdoor wedding on a beach with all your friends and family behind you once COVID's over. You can have a beautiful wedding on the beach with some of your friends and family behind you now, and then plan a larger reception later. We're there. We're almost there. Um, and I'll talk about eloping weddings and all of that in another video too. But so I want you to hope for your gorgeous beach wedding, but plan for a rained out day. Now, Juneau has a couple of venues that are wonderful for setting up tents. One of my businesses is tent rentals, so I am perfectly capable of helping you know which venues I've worked at and which ones are easy to incorporate tents with and to have venues. So if you're planning a wedding at the Adlerheim Lodge, for example, they have a lovely lower parking lot where we can set up 3 or 4 tents and fully cover an event for 200 people. The one thing that I will caution you though, there are a couple of other smaller rental there are a couple of smaller companies where you can rent some items from. So I can't speak to their policies, but I know my policies for my rentals are not weather dependent. Meaning, if you rent from me planning for horrible weather 6 months, 12 months in advance, great, love it, got to get you on the books. I'm getting really booked up for summer 2021, and I'm already starting to get booked up for summer 2022. So if you're planning, you book me 6 months in advance, you put your deposit down, the tents and all the subsequent rentals that you get from me are then yours. I will not double book you. They will be yours. And then if other brides and grooms come to me saying, oh, I want a tent on this day, if your deposit's down, they get refused. Then fast forward to a couple of weeks before your wedding, and you finally get the weather forecast. You see, it's gonna be 70, 80 degrees, which is amazingly hot here. And you say, oh, I don't need a tent. Can I get my money back? My policy is to say no. We held it for you. We denied other brides and grooms. There's lots of widgets that come through on our end to plan to be prepared for your event. We do not offer refunds of your deposit outside of our cancellation window. There are some instances, if you're still within our cancellation window, where you can postpone your tent rental for up to 365 days from the original date of rental. And if you do not, and then it's up to you whether you're going to pass along. Here's my mommy cat. She's about 14 years old. It's up to you to pass along that tent rental to your other event. Say you want to have an anniversary party or some such. Or if you have another bride that wants to buy your rental from you. The rental is still under your name, under your contract. You will still be in charge of it. But it allows you to get some recompense for the tent rental. However, there is also a much smaller time where a much shorter cancellation window that you're not allowed to postpone your rental. So those are some things I want to make you aware of when you're doing outdoor weddings in Alaska and having to deal with the weather, is that our rental policy doesn't matter what the weather is going to be like. However, if you do find out, say 2-3 days before, you know that you can't get your deposit back, it's absolutely okay to say, the weather's gonna be great. I don't want the tent set up at all. And that's fine. We don't have to come and do your work for you, but you won't get your deposit back. And if you cancel us and then freak storm comes up, it's going to be a lot harder for us to scramble and get staff back for you. So that was a whole lot of that, talking about the idiosyncrasies with the Alaskan weather. One of the other things that I'd like to say about us Alaskans is that we are very DIY. If there's something we can do ourselves, we want to do it ourselves. And most of the time that's great, as long as you plan for plan B. If you try a DIY, one of the things I have on my channel, or any other DIY for weddings, you do a small batch try, you like how it turns out, great. Grab some friends, grab some family, have them come on over and do it. Have fun doing it. And have fun telling your guests that you did it. You didn't buy it off Etsy. You didn't buy it off Amazon. You did it yourselves. That's great. However, on the flip side, if you want to do a DIY, you try it and you don't like how it turns out, if you haven't given yourself enough time to A, find another method of doing it, or B, find a vendor who will do it for you, I know I will step in if given enough time and do some DIYs. Do any of the projects that I've done on my channel. There's other things I will do as well. Help tie ribbons, napkins, centerpieces, whatever. As long as you give me enough time, then I have absolutely no problem doing your projects for you. But you have to give me enough time. So while I don't condone, in fact, I do highly approve of DIY projects for Alaskans because that's who we are, just make sure that you plan in case they go wrong. The third thing I'd like to talk about that us Alaskans like to do is, I don't want to say that we're cheap, but a lot of us are very frugal. And it's because we kind of have to be. It is very expensive to live here. And so we have to make our dollars stretch. And so there are definitely some ways that you can make your dollars stretch for your wedding, and some ways that you really shouldn't. And it's all based on what's important to you. If you've been dreaming of always having a wedding full of roses and orchids, then maybe you shouldn't DIY this project. Maybe you shouldn't cut any costs on this, because if you do it yourself, you're taking time away from preparing for the wedding, because flowers have to be prepared the day before or the day of the wedding. And professional florists know that. We have a couple of really great florists here locally, and they can help you do your vision exactly how you dreamed it as a little girl. But if flowers were not part of your grandiose vision when you were a kid, and they're not that important to you or your future spouse, then go ahead, cut some costs. Heck, you don't need flowers. You can have books or little trees or numerous other types of centerpieces. And that's totally fine. Though the one thing that two things that I will say that kind of have always seemed two things that I think that are very important are having a good DJ and having a good photographer. When I talk with brides, especially my cruise ship brides that are coming in to have a glacier wedding, they kind of are shocked when I don't include photographers in my package, because photographers can be expensive. But you want to know what makes them expensive? Because they're good. And I've worked with them, and I love the photos that come from their services. And so while I would absolutely love to have one or two of those photographers in my Rolodex just to include in my packages, there are some brides that go, we just paid this much for the cruise ship, we're paying this much for the helicopter, this much for you. We don't have that money left over for the photos. We just wanted the experience. We don't care about the photos. Although if you're having a glacier wedding, that's kind of unique and you kind of want to remember it. But that's a whole different ball of wax. So in that case, there are a couple of local photographers that are just starting out, and their prices are thusly justified. They are learning the ropes. I haven't worked with them on the glacier before. They're a student of photography. Some students are fantastic, some are not, but that's what you're going to get. So that's why when I am dealing with my elopement brides, that's why I don't include photographers in that list. I also don't include photographers in that list because some of my elopement brides choose to bring a photographer with them. Awesome. You can do that. Great, because you have a rapport with that photographer and you know how that photographer is going to work, and that's going to be great for you. But we do have some phenomenal photographers here locally. So those 3 reasons are why I don't include photographers in my list. I will talk with you and go, is photography important? What's your budget? And then we'll kind of discuss from there whether or not we're going to use a photographer, or which photographer we're going to get for you. DJs are also super important, even for my Alaskan DIY brides, because they can get the party going. They can keep the party going. They also are your MC, and they have the sound system. I can act as your MC as a coordinator. However, that takes me away from the other duties that I need to be doing. A lot of times for the grand entrance, I go and I let the DJ know that you guys are ready to come in, and then I go back and wait and signal the DJ and then signal you, and then we have the grand entrance. However, if I'm over with your little Mod Podge karaoke machine, I may not be able to make sure that you're ready to go for your grand entrance. So having a DJ and an MC is very crucial to making sure everything goes smooth. Not saying that us Alaskan brides can't do that, but having an MC really helps. So I've got 2 other things that are pretty unique to Alaska and unique to Southeast Alaska. Our wildflowers. They are gorgeous. We have those beautiful fireweeds. We have lots of irises and Alaskan cotton and beautiful wildflowers. However, here in Juneau, we're in the middle of the Tongass National Rainforest, and so a lot of our plants are marsh-like and bog species and bog species that require water. And so if you want to have an Alaskan wildflower bouquet, this is something that a professional florist will help you with, but they can get you similar flowers to Alaskan wildflowers that are not Alaskan wildflowers, that don't require the amount of water that Alaskan wildflowers do. and give you a beautiful bouquet that's Alaskan wildflower like. Because an Alaskan wildflower bouquet will dry out and droop, and it won't look pretty unless you happen to be hand tying this bouquet 30 minutes before you walk down the aisle and then creating another one an hour later for the reception. The fourth thing that Juneau brides have to contend with is that we don't have white sand beaches. We have rocky beaches. We have one beach that's called Sandy Beach. It's made from mine tailings. We're a gold rush town. And you can have your wedding there if you get the right permits, I think. I've not had a wedding actually on the beach because it's a public beach and cruise ships across the way, kids, dogs. Not really all that exciting. There's another beach, Eagle Beach, that has sections of sandy area that are good for weddings, but then it's rocks. So just remember that if you want that tropical beach look, the best thing to do is go to a tropical beach, because you're not going to get it here. You're not going to get the mountains in the backdrop or the glacier in the backdrop at a tropical beach, but you will get that sandy beach, and you'll be able to go barefoot, which I don't recommend here. Those are four of the things that are very idiosyncratic to Alaskans. We are outdoor people. We are DIY and frugal people. Our wildflowers are not really appropriate to wedding flowers, and our beaches don't look like tropical beaches. If you have any questions about Alaskan weddings, make a comment below or send me a message. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I'll continue my content on aspects of your wedding you can DIY, and then I'm also going to be continuing this sort of random, rambly corner of things to think about, aspects to think about when you're planning your wedding. So with that, I hope you have fun planning your wedding and have a sunny day.